Okay, good evening, everyone, on this beautiful Thursday evening in sunny June. And so today we have with us Lisa Jones, and she's going to be giving a presentation titled Lighten Up, It's Not That Deep. And the presentation is about how to use stress as a fuel for creativity and innovation. And Lisa Jones is a speaker, a consultant, and an author. And from an early age, she's had a passion for food and a love for play, which set the stage for her journey as an entrepreneur. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa. And so, Lisa, take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here tonight with me. So we are going to get started as soon as my mouse will work. I don't know. Why isn't it? I do the old fashioned way, even though it's connected. See, different difficulties. That's what I was talking about. Stress much? So people think that stress is a bad thing, being stressed out, burned out, or maxed out. Now, looking at this slide, how many of you can relate to this woman and her ripping up papers? I'm sure we've all felt that way before, right? We wanted to rip our papers. Definitely true. So imagine sitting with stress, facing stress, or better yet, running towards stress. It's so easy to get caught up in the stress of daily life and feel overwhelmed by expectations and responsibilities, especially in today's fast-paced world. We have learned to get away from stress. But what if we leverage stress as a powerful igniter for new ideas and possibilities? What if we did that? Are you ready to discover your inner superhero in stressful times? So if you want to type in the chat or just say, I'm ready, whatever's easier.
I'm ready.
Thank you. I remember a challenging week back in college. Deadlines piled up, commitments overlapped, and the weight of the world I felt like was on my shoulders. But in the chaos, I found an old board game, Monopoly. So on a whim, I set it up and I played. And this put me in touch with my inner child, that little girl who commanded her Atari stick playing Miss Pac-Man for endless hours. And as I rolled the dice and moved the tokens around, something magical happened. The stress melted away. It transported me to simpler times. I was laughing out loud and making decisions as easily as being the hat or car token. Playing the game reminded me of the power of play. It provided an escape, a break from adult responsibilities. I felt lighter, more centered. And by the end, I faced academic challenges with a playful spirit. And in the spirit of play, I wanted to share with you a few cartoons about stress. The one on the left says, I've rage donated, doom scrolled, procrastinated, and now I'm stress eating. How's your day going? How many of you have been there? Just shout out yes if you can relate. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you. And then the cartoon on the right says, stop working long hours, cleaning, cooking, doing laundry, caring for your parents, your kids, volunteering, worrying, and call me in the morning. For those of you, you might be wanting to respond, got it, doc. So all I need to do is stop working long hours, cleaning, cooking, doing laundry, caring for my parents, my kids, volunteering, and worrying. Then I can give you a call. By the way, do you have the number for a really good magician? Because that's what you would need, a magician, to make that better. So there's some cartoons for you. One of the most defining moments that illuminated the power of play in my life happened during my first job out of college. I was scheduled to give a presentation, but it was on a very technical topic. And as I was rehearsing, the content felt dry, it felt drawn out, and it felt heavier than a backpack full of my grandma's meatloaf. So I decided I wanted to shake things up. So I turned the key points of my talk into a game, complete with buzzers, scoreboards, and a prize for the winner. But as I introduced it to a room full of professionals, I saw something magical unfold. The energy in the room, well, it shifted. Eyes that were once glazed over from hours of presentations lit up with excitement. And there was laughter. There was friendly competition. And there was this unmistakable buzz of engagement. Not only had the audience grasped the content and the core concepts, but they were discussing them with this enthusiasm and genuine interest. And the feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with so many thumbs up that it looked like we were at an emoji convention. And this was before emojis were popular back in the day. So I want to encourage you to take a seat on life's roller coaster. I want you to picture where every day is your last. What bold moves would you make? Let's take a ride back to May 8th, 2014, when I faced a brain tumor and my mortality. Survival felt uncertain. Pain was my persistent companion, and neurochecks they were my hourly alarms. But as I stared up at the blank ceiling hospital, something clicked. I had a choice. I can swim in a sea of self-pity or blaze a path fueled by passion and purpose. I chose the latter. Each day I painted a vivid future, vowing not to cancel my upcoming wedding, even if I had to rock a bald head. I had every visitor play games with me in the hospital, and I even created new ones, like pin the tie on the groom, just to help with the wedding planning. Today, I'm your guide to the world of thriving through play. We all confront our versions of tumors. These are our past, present, or looming future challenges. What's your plan when you face your next one? But I want to tell you a little bit about what play taught me. It taught me where there's a challenge, there is a fun way to conquer it. And innovation is just a play date away. And over the years, I've dived into the world of research just to understand the profound impact that play has on our psyche. So if you think about it, if you look at the first study, there's a study from the National Institute for Play, and it explores the biology of play and its significance in shaping our brain, fostering empathy, and building resilience. And what this research suggests is that play can stimulate neurons in the brain and form connections that are crucial for cognitive growth. And the second study I want to reference is one from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and it highlights the importance of play in promoting healthy child development and maintaining strong parent-child bonds as well. And really it says that play can improve children's abilities to plan, organize, and get along well with others, as well as regulate emotions. And what does this mean? Well, these findings solidify the belief in the power of play, not just as a fun activity, but as a pillar of well-being, shaping our brains and boosting emotional resilience. So speaking of some creative ways to manage stress, I recently heard someone say that they started baking to de-stress, but now that they're stressed about eating all the cookies, which I kind of thought was funny. So what are you gonna do about that? You get rid of one stress, you have another one. So now that we had a little laugh, let's put our knowledge to the test with a fun game of myth or fact. So are you all ready to bust some myths and uncover the facts about stress and creativity? Just shout out play or type it in the chat if you are ready. Play. Thank you. So our first one, stress is always harmful and should be avoided at all costs. So what do we think that one is? Do we think that one is a myth or a fact?
Myth.
Myth. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is a myth because while chronic stress can be harmful, short-term stress can actually enhance our performance, our creativity, and our problem-solving skills. So it's really about managing the stress effectively and using it as a motivator rather than letting it overwhelm you, which can be easy to do if we let it, right? And I want to talk a little bit about regret because regret can be a powerful emotion and it holds us back from living fully in the present. And it's important to understand how regrets affect our well-being and happiness. So let me tell you about the time that I missed out on my dream job. You see, I was scrolling through job listings in my PJs, eating ice cream straight from the container when I see the perfect job. Did I apply? Nope. Instead, I got stuck in the what if and if only hamster wheel of regret. In fact, I became the mayor of Regretville, population me. Then I had an epiphany. I'm sorry. I decided to reframe my perspective. Instead of focusing on what I missed, I thought about what I could learn from the experience. It was kind of like switching from a sad black and white movie to a feel-good Technicolor blockbuster. I decided to let go of the regret. I threw away my imaginary Regretville key and I moved forward with a renewed sense of purpose. And of course, a lot less ice cream. So let's try a quick exercise now. So please close your eyes for me and think about regret, a regret that's been weighing on you. You don't have to share it, but imagine that regret as a big balloon. And with each breath that you feel, visualize letting go of the balloon, watching it float away until it's out of sight. Feel the lightness in your chest and the freedom in your mind. And really, this simple exercise can help you release the burden of regrets and create space for new opportunities and joy. So this is something you can keep practicing, but if I'm sure like some people have a lot of regrets, and think to make a list of your top 3 and then try this exercise and see if it makes you feel better about it. So you want to live in the present and not the past. So that's something helpful to do. All right, so we're going to play another myth or fact. So our next question is, playing games and incorporating humor into your daily routine is a waste of time for adults. So do you think that is a myth or a fact?
Yes.
Somebody said myth. Okay, thank you. Incorporating play and humor into your routine can reduce stress, improve mental health, and boost creativity and productivity. And adults benefit just as much from play as children do. And in fact, what happens is a lot of times as adults, we stop playing. And if you think about kids that are in your life and they're always playing. That's the first thing they do when they're very curious. They ask you like 10 questions when you see them. At some point, adults stop doing that. So how can you become more curious? How can you continue playing? So think about that, because that really impacts how we handle stress. And if you think about stress, stress is often seen as the villain in our lives, right? But I want to encourage you to think about it as, what if we turned it into our ally? Just like superheroes face challenges head on, we can use stress to fuel our creativity and our innovation. Think of stress as a personal trainer, pushing you to new limits and helping you grow stronger. And sometimes when I'm facing a big challenge, I like to imagine myself as the superhero on the screen. Just like in this picture where you have the pretend Wonder Woman with cleaning spray, because let's be honest, let's face it, the real superhero power is really tackling life's messes, right? Whether it's a dirty countertop or a major presentation. So who knew saving the world could involve so much disinfectant, but it does. So what I want to do now is take a moment to think about our own inner superhero. Who would you be? What are your superpowers? So just 2 questions if you want to get a piece of paper, jot down, or use your computer notes. How can you use those powers to tackle your current challenges? And we'll have a little discussion about it, but write down your superhero name and powers in the chat. So really, who would you be? And I'm the crazy disinfectant lady. I feel like I'm always cleaning up messes. So, I mean, it could be as creative as you think or something silly that you come up with. But if you could be one, what would your superpower be? And how would you use it? Is there anybody that wants to, if you're thinking, I'll take a sip of water while you're thinking. I'm just checking the chat. All right. Anybody want to come off mute and let me know your thoughts? Or you're like, no, Lisa, I don't want to be a superhero. I'm the only one, really? All right. Got some stuff going on here. Thank you. Thanks for playing. A super squirrel. Oh, I like that. Find, organize, and save knowledge. That's a good one. Wonder Woman with superpowers and anticipation. Oh, these are good. See? Now you can think about all the different things you could do with this. So it's making you think. Not that you were. How about you, Jesse? Any thoughts? Calling on Jesse.
I don't know. Disorganized man. I can find anything in a pile.
There you go. That's actually a talent. Yeah. So you can come up with, now you're going to be thinking you're going to wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and figure out what your name for that will be.
Yeah.
And it'll make you laugh and less stressed, right? All right.
Yep.
Well,
It
thank you
does
for,
have to be my pile though.
yes. Oh, okay. So you can't help somebody else that's disorganized.
No.
Because I'm thinking
My
you can,
pile.
there's plenty of people I can refer you to. Jesse is super ferret. Oh, that's good. See? Yeah, there you go. Well, you want to make sure that you're keeping this list handy and refer to it whenever you kind of need that boost of confidence and strength, right? And it made you chuckle, so that's really all that matters. And now I lost my here we go. We're back on track with this. All right. So we talk about humor and play because it's really essential tools for cultivating a lighthearted approach to life. And it really helps us see the lighter side of things. It helps us reduce stress, and it does help us connect with others on a deeper level. And one of the favorite ways to infuse humor in my day, for example, is through playful challenges and games. And another way to bring more play into your life is to turn, and here are some suggestions for you all. You can turn mundane tasks into games. For example, if you're sorting your emails, you can set a timer and you can see how many you can clear in 10 minutes. Or when you're doing household chores, you can put on some music and dance your way through the tasks. But really, these small changes can make a big difference in our overall happiness and well-being. So just kind of think about or jot down some ideas of different ways that you can play throughout your day. And then here's a fun solo exercise that you can do. So if you take a moment to think of your favorite funny moment from a movie or TV show, and if you don't have one, here's a classic to get you started. You want to imagine a scene where someone accidentally trips, because there's how many countless movies and TV shows that this happens to, but they make a spectacularly silly fall. And then they get up with a big grin. And then we laugh, right? So share your favorite funny moment that you can think of off the top of your head, if you want to say it out loud, or if you want to put it in the chat of a movie. The person that pops in my mind when you're thinking is Dick Van Dyke. Like, he was the classic. He was so good at, I think he just turned like 90 something years old, right? Or maybe older than that, but he was classic as like falling and just making it hilarious. Like, you laughed at him falling all the time. Is there anybody else that you guys can think of that's good at it? Or have you fallen and you've made some funny face and then people were laughing? Like, not at you, but with you. Like, you were laughing and they were laughing. Not that you injured yourself, but you know what I mean?
I was thinking of Gene Wilder and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, so good. Yeah, it's a great example. Now I got to go back and watch that movie, Jesse.
I think before that shot was taken, he pretended to be hurt on set. So nobody was expecting him to do the flip that he did in that take.
Yeah, that's cool.
So he
That's
kind
a
of
good movie.
played a prank on everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a movie that you can watch over and over again. Now it's on my list. There we go. Thank you. Anybody else think of one that they're, it's okay if you don't. All right. So why you want to recall it is because even recalling it or reenacting it can instantly lift your spirits and bring that smile to your face. Like, just when we were talking about the Gene Wilder one, I was like, hey, I want to go watch the movie. Made me laugh. Here's another myth or fact for you. Stressful situations should be avoided whenever possible to maintain good health. Do you think that is a myth or a fact?
Myth.
Myth, yeah. So while avoiding unnecessary stress is beneficial, we want to make sure that we're encountering and we're managing stress, because that really can help build resilience and improve our abilities to handle future challenges. And if you think about it, it's really about finding that healthy balance and using stress constructively. So that's what we all want to do, and that really helps how we handle stress in the future. So let's talk a little bit about creating change and fostering growth, because it doesn't have to be daunting. And if we apply a playful and creative approach to it, we can make it more of a fun and rewarding experience. And I want to share with you all my 4-step recipe to drive change and foster growth. And the first one is inspiration. So if you think about inspiration, and everyone has different sources of inspiration, whether it's a book, a TEDx talk, or a conversation with a friend, but really that inspiration sparks creativity and motivates us towards action. And then the second one is imagination. We use our imagination to envision the possibilities, right? So if we imagine the end result and how it will feel to get there, that visualization can be powerful. It's a powerful tool in bringing our dreams to life, essentially. And then the third one is innovation. If you're thinking outside the box, we come up with creative solutions. So don't be afraid to take risks and try new things, because innovation often comes from experimenting and learning from failure. And it's okay to fail. And then the fourth thing is implementation. We want to take action and put our plan into motion. And we want to break it down into smaller, manageable steps. And then, of course, celebrate each milestone along the way. So let's put this recipe into practice. So what I want to do now is everyone think of a change you want to make in your life or a goal you want to achieve. We want to write down first our inspiration, imagine the possibilities, and then brainstorm some innovative solutions on how we can get there. And of course, we're outlining the steps for implementation. So you don't have to, I know this can be pretty personal. You don't have to share it if you don't want to. It's just something on a piece of paper that you're writing. But if you wanted to share it, you can share it with your partner or maybe a coworker and discuss how you can support each other, because that's really how it's going to help you. So I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to let us all individually work and write some things down for this one, because this really can help get you going. Using the stress as a catalyst.
That's a question.
What's that, Sandy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Get to this later, but curious, part of what I'm hearing so far is identifying, understanding, and dealing with stress. But are we also going to establish priorities, separate personal from work, highlight which inspire us and which, make us struggle? Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm just curious if we're going to distinguish. I mean, if you had a list of 10 stress items or areas in your life, they're not all critical, they're not all super important, and they're not all creating anxiety at the same level. Some can be repaired in 2 minutes and some may need, 2 months.
No, that's a great point. So I would say to you, does it help for you to compartmentalize them then in your, what I would say in making them a priority is thinking about what the top 3 are. I tend to work in 3s in my own life, and everyone's different, like whatever works for you, I would say. So if it helps you to have 2 separate lists.
What I'm trying to say is that not every stress is equal.
No, that's definitely true.
So they're all different flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And some are create sleepless nights, and others are something you can take care of in an hour.
Yeah, so I would say, can you still, even though you mentioned that, can you put them in buckets then on your paper? Would that help you?
I got to get a big bucket.
Huh, you gotta get a big bucket. Okay. Well, I would start small with just 3.
Attempt at humor there.
I laughed. Okay. It was good.
Okay. All right.
No, thank you for sharing, because a lot of people are probably thinking, yeah, it's interesting. The comments that I get from this when I go over it is like some people will just write their list and there's kind of like a whatever pops in their head. And then other people will ask the question that you just asked or make comments about it, similar thinking. So I think it just depends. And my answer is like, there's no one size fits all with it. So however you can, whatever works for you.
I would think the solution and the repairs are also different when, well, you know, I'm late to the meeting, so that's a level of stress, but, you know, something that's more serious or something more personal or something regarding a family member, that's a much more serious matter. That needs to be handled in a very different way.
Yeah. I mean, there's interesting research on how our body responds to stress. And sometimes, even though they may seem like they're different to you, our body is in the inside is reacting similarly, if that makes any sense. So,
Okay, thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah. No, I like the point that you're making though. It's really good. I'd be curious to see like what I just picture it now, like how you lay it out. And I would kind of go from there and then kind of go through the 4 steps and see how.
Well, I mean, part of the equation for me is establishing priorities. You know, what's important today?
Yeah. And that's a really great point that you bring up too, because on a daily basis, I don't know about you, but like my priorities sometimes change. Like what I think is a priority may be a little different the next day. So I don't know if you have similar things, but yeah, maybe it's what priority list are you working today? I put them in a list, but thank you for sharing that. That was good. Anyone else have any comments before we move on to the next slide? All right. So here we're talking about personal growth, really becoming a better version of ourselves. And personal growth is an ongoing journey. And it's really important to equip ourselves with the right tools to navigate it. And here I want to share some valuable tools to help you on your path to becoming a better version of yourself. And the first one is, I know it's a popular word, people say it often, but mindfulness. So I mentioned earlier that we want to practice being mindful and staying present and focused. We're staying in the present and not the past or the future, but it helps us to manage our stress. It helps us to improve our concentration and enhance our overall well-being. And then of course, which is a gratitude, we want to cultivate a gratitude practice. And again, I'm going to go back to the 3 things. What are 3 things that you're grateful for each day? And then really that gratitude shifts our focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. So as you start making those lists, you'll see that it helps fostering your mindset. And then self-compassion, be kind to yourself, because this helps with the kindness and understanding that we would offer to a friend, we want to offer to ourselves. And then self-compassion helps us navigate setbacks and challenges with grace. And then of course, my favorite, I know you're not going to be shocked by this, but playfulness. We want to embrace our inner child and our need to play, whether that's playing a sport, engaging in creative hobby, and simply being silly. Playfulness adds joy and vitality to our lives. So I want to stop here and take a few moments to reflect on these tools that I mentioned and how can you incorporate them into your daily routine. So it doesn't have to be all of them. If you think about like maybe one of them, or yeah, like maybe do mindfulness, or maybe you're picking gratitude, like self-compassion or playfulness. What's one thing that you can do to practice that? You just have to pick one thing. We just have to start with one. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming thing. And maybe you're already doing, we will say, hey, Lisa, I'm already doing a gratitude journal. Maybe you have a journal and you write down before you go to bed what you're grateful for. So I want to stop for a second and then see what your thoughts are about that, because this really does help with kind of ironing out the things that we're stressed about. If we kind of compare that list to the things that we're grateful for, and then it makes it a little less stressful.
Well, I've certainly been working on mindfulness lately.
Mindfulness, good. Okay. And any particular thing that you find helpful that you want to share with the group?
What do you mean? Like that I find helpful with just trying to be more mindful, or a particular tool? I mean, because there's
Yeah, like, are you using a tool? Are you like,
yeah,
do you?
there's if I forget exactly how I found it, but there was an app that I found called Balance, which was actually offering a 1 year free membership, and then
Balance.
next year you'd have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But and it offers a whole bunch of different guided meditations and you know, from beginner and kind of just getting you into it and whatnot, to even some tools for like quiet music for like I don't know if you've ever heard of the Pomodoro method, you know, where you work for 25 minutes, take a break for 5 minutes. There's actually a timer that they've built in there with some kind of soothing music to be able to work through. So that's been a useful tool for me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm going to check that out. I used to use the Pomodoro, and then I switched to an app. You can download it on your computer, but it's called Reclaim. And if you have, like, say, a meeting that gets canceled or something, it moves something else on your to-do list in there for you. So you don't have to think, like, you don't have that. You're being really productive that way. So it kind of helps with productivity, but it doesn't have the cool soothing music that I need to probably try to get that back somehow. And then I also heard somebody at another session I did last week that talked about, and that this is probably going to sound familiar to you guys because people use it for different methods, but they just had like a rubber band that they put on their wrist. And when they found themselves not being mindful, they would like snap the rubber band, and it kind of brought them back to where they needed to be, which sounds a little painful to me, but it is all about what works for you. So for some people, if they're going to say that works for them, then I'm not going to tell them not to do it. So like whatever works for you. And it sounds like, Jesse, you're heading in the right direction with some of the stuff you're doing.
Trying.
So that is good. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Anybody else want to share before we move on?
Yeah, I'll just share. Similar to what Sandy was saying, sometimes the stressors are not you can't take an action on them.
Yeah.
So of late, I have a Post-it note up that says kind of a reminder. Did you do something to make yourself happy today? Just to put myself back into the world, even though the stressor issue is a big part of my world.
Yes, I love that. So it's kind of like front and center, prominent, where you can always see it. Just to show of hands, like how many of us, because Kathleen, you mentioned a really good point. I have like 5 things behind me. I have like one of those cart boards with different things on it, and like I'll randomly change them out, but I always keep like, how did you play today? So that's kind of like similar, like, because that makes me happy. So it's just a matter of, and then I have like other ones that I have, but I change them out every once in a while. So how many of us, show of hands, like have something like that we have, whether it's on a sticky note on your computer or something that kind of is a reminder. So that's a really good tip. And that's an easy thing to kind of incorporate, right?
Yeah, I do in my work area, directly behind my chair. I'm not sitting there now, I'm sitting outside, but behind my chair at eye height, I have a little painting of 3 birds, and it says live, love, laugh. So every time I go to sit down, I see that. Yeah. And then it just becomes automatic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, does it kind of like remind your mind of, okay, I'm living, I'm loving, and I'm laughing.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. They sell them. I see them a lot in different. So when you bought that, was there something about birds that you're like, I like birds, and then it appealed to you?
Well, I do like birds, and I like the message, and it was just a really cute, nice motivational thing to have near me all the time. So I think that's why I picked it up. I was probably in Home Goods or something like that, and I said, "Oh, that's nice. I'm going to put that, in my work area."
Nice. I know that there's like go on Amazon and you type in the same 3 words. There's a whole bunch of stuff that comes up. It's kind of cool. So like, like whatever appeals to you, but I like that. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So we talked about that. And then the other thing just with this I wanted to mention is make sure that you share, like if you have some commitments that you write down from this exercise, you can share it with a partner, or a colleague, but just making sure that you're holding each other accountable, because it's always good to have like what I call an accountability buddy. And then I want to talk about, I found this quote that I love, and I'll just give you a second to read it. But it's a pretty cool quote, and I want to, it's called The Upside of Stress, but it highlights a powerful message, really that ability to grow from stress, because it's a universal human trait. And it emphasizes that everyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, has the inherent strength to persevere, connect with others, and then find hope, but also derive meaning even in the face of adversity, because that's what this is, overcoming adversity. And these fundamental human capacities can emerge during stressful times. And it reminds us that stress can be a catalyst, as we talked about earlier, but it's a catalyst for personal growth and resilience. And it's also a reassurance, too, that no matter who you are or where you are, you have the potential to transform stress into any opportunity for positive change. It may not seem that way. It may seem like you're taking a long time to have that shift, but it's kind of like that whole, like you probably heard before, progress over perfection, like you're taking baby steps to get there, but you're working towards it. So kind of with these tools in place, then it doesn't seem as stressful. So I really like this quote. I think it's a good one to kind of maybe hang up somewhere. So let's talk a little bit about how can we use stress as really, it's about shifting our mindset to view stress as an opportunity for, let's say, growth and creativity. And if we integrate playful activities into our daily routine, it can help manage stress and also maintain our focus. And then it pushes our boundaries by setting us up for creative challenges for ourselves. And this can help us develop new skills and unlock innovative solutions to our problems. And then if we also think about incorporating mindfulness practices, as we discussed a little bit ago, into our day, and this really helps us stay centered and manage stress effectively. And it can also improve our focus and decision-making abilities. And then moving on to talking about embracing playfulness, and this is even in high-pressure situations. And really, what does this mean? This means that no matter how stressful or demanding a situation may be, if you maintain a playful attitude, it can help you manage stress more effectively. And by keeping things lighthearted, you can then reduce the pressure that you may feel, and you can approach challenges with a clear and focused mind. And then talking about incorporating play into your routine, well, that really helps diffuse the stress, and it does unlock a more innovative and creative mindset. And then I do want to talk about integrating playful activities a little bit into your daily routine and how that can significantly reduce stress levels. And what I'm talking about is whether it's taking short breaks to play a quick game, incorporating humor into your tasks, or simply just allowing yourself to be more spontaneous. Because really these playful elements, if you think about it, it can help you shift your perspective and spark creativity. And that's what we want to do. And if we think about when we're relaxed and enjoying ourselves, what happens is we're more likely to think outside the box and come up with innovative solutions. And that's what we really want. And really, some of the best ideas come when we're having fun. Like if you think about times when you're having fun and you're like, oh, and you think of this great idea, and then you got to make sure you write it down. But many of these groundbreaking ideas and breakthroughs happen when people are having fun, right? And enjoying themselves. But why is that, you may ask? Well, it's because playfulness encourages a state of flow where your mind is free to explore new possibilities, but without the constraints of stress and pressure. And that's what we want. That's the place we want to be. And by fostering a fun and playful environment, you open yourself up to new ideas and creative thinking. Now, talking about it as a catalyst, instead of seeing stress as a purely negative force, we can view it as an opportunity for growth. Because stress can push you out of your comfort zone and drive you to achieve things you may not have thought possible. And by reframing the way you look at stress in this way, we can harness its energy to propel us forward in both our personal and our professional life. And it really challenges us to push boundaries, to think creatively, critically, and develop innovative solutions. that we might not have considered in a more relaxed state. So right now, when you're under stress, you're often forced to think on your feet. And we've all put ourselves in stressful situations, but we have to come up with solutions quickly. But this leads to critical thinking and innovative problem solving that we might not have tapped into otherwise. So really what I'm saying is stress can push you to explore new ideas and approaches. It can lead to breakthroughs and advancements that more relaxed state might not have inspired otherwise. So if we think about it like that, it kind of opens up a world of possibilities. But you may be asking, well, how do I balance this? Because achieving work balance is like riding a seesaw, right? If you lean too far into work, you'll crash to the ground with a thud. And if you focus only on play, well, guess what happens? Your head ends up in the clouds, wondering what happened to your paycheck, which that's not what we want. So the trick is to keep that seesaw teetering perfectly in the middle, enjoying the ups and the downs without falling off of it. So the next time you feel off balance, remember to add a little play to your workday and a little work to your playtime. Just don't forget to hold on tight and laugh at your wobble, because you probably will be wobbly. And I wanted to give you here 3 examples to help bring balance with play. And the first one is to incorporate mini breaks. And this is something simple that you can do, but you can take short, playful breaks throughout your workday. You can set a timer for every hour and spend about 5 minutes doing something fun. And that could be, I'm just making things up, we're all different, but a quick game on your phone. You can have a mini dance party or even some doodling if you like to draw. But they're little bursts of play and they can refresh your mind and keep you productive. And then the second one is playful problem solving. So if you turn your work into challenges into playful puzzles, and I'll give you an example. Say you're brainstorming ideas for a project, you can use colorful sticky notes to jot down your thoughts and arrange them in different patterns. But you want to make a game from it to see how many ideas you can come up with in a set time. So that's a fun one. And then the third one is gamify your to-do list. And really what you're doing is you're turning your to-do list into a game. And you want to assign points to tasks based on your difficulty and then reward yourself when you reach a certain score. So for example, you can complete a major project and that might earn you enough points to treat yourself to your favorite snack, which is my favorite word, or a short break. So write down something that you're interested in or make up your own and start working it in. But it really is about balance. You want to master that seesaw because you don't want to end up face first in the dirt or floating aimlessly in the clouds. So to help you keep balance, I've got something special. I want you to meet my friend here. This is my Game Over cup. It's complete with joystick handles, and I have it packed with the funniest, and I have it here, most playful ideas to inject some joy into your day. So are you all ready to level up? So what I'm going to do is we're going to see what this has in store for us. And what I do every day, just to give you a little backstory, is I pick every day I pick like about 3 of them out of here and I read them and then I'll do something from it, or I'll laugh or I'll play, I'll do something. But when I first started, because I like to play games and make games and do all kinds of playing, I wrote like a list of 100. And 100 can't fit in here, but I can fit about like 10 in here before it gets too bulky, but I just keep replenishing them. So I've had other people that have gotten like a big jar and put ideas in a jar. You don't have to use a cup. You can use whatever you want and just have it sit at your desk. And that could be how you play each day. So the first one in here is, and I'm going to pull them out and read them. I have I wrote the 1-minute mime off. How many of you have, and I'm not talking about a professional mime because that's not as funny because they're very good at what they do. I'm talking about like if you have a 1-minute mime off where each person draws a random activity from the cup and mimes it out while everyone else guesses. The most creative mime wins a pretend trophy and a round of applause from invisible fans. So I don't know if you've ever watched people that aren't professional mimes mime. It's hysterical. So that's why I thought of miming. I don't know. I think when I wrote that, I like saw a mime or something must have made me think of mimes. So that's my mime one. The next one I'll pull out here is I have a mystery snack roulette because I think I've mentioned before I like snacks. But if you have people bring in a wrapped mystery snack and draw names to see who gets which one. But here's the twist for it. Some snacks might be delicious and others might be, well, let's just say unique, right? Enjoy the surprise and watch the reactions. So I don't know if you've ever played this game where, do you remember like Halloween? They would have like the different Halloween things and people would come and they'd have to blindfold themselves. Did anybody else play this game at Halloween? And then they'd have like, it'd be like a gross eyeball and you'd be like, I can't believe I just tried that. So it's kind of like that, but at the office. And then the last example I have for you is one of my favorites, but it's called the paper airplane. And that's where you fold your best paper airplane and see who can pull off the most spectacular stunts. You get bonus points if they do loop-de-loops, barrel rolls, and dramatic crash landings. I don't know if anybody ever goes and like watches the planes fly for the holiday and how cool that is. But I'm a person that likes to sit there during my playtime and make these fun little airplanes. Does anybody else like to do airplanes or make them? I guarantee, like if you have a piece of paper around, you can fold an airplane while I'm talking and you can kind of see how fun it is. Like you feel like a kid again. Like when's the last time, and just show it, like if somebody wants to come off mute and tell me, when's the last time you like made a paper airplane? Does anybody remember?
At least 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make one tomorrow and let me know. Let me know how you feel after you do it. I tell you, you're going to feel better about it. Anyway, okay. So my question to you guys is, how will you play? So we think about how you would play. So are you ready to tap into your inner child? So if we haven't made an airplane, let's make an airplane. But what I'm trying to say is let's activate your curiosity. Let's unleash an avalanche of asking why. Let's start exploring life like it's a treasure hunt and put on our wonder goggles that we had on when we were a kid, but they weren't goggles at the time. But you want to discover the laughter hidden in the ordinary, for it's really the potion of pure magic. And by nurturing our inner kid, we're not just enriching the present, we're high-fiving our past. We want to say hello to a world full of joy and a buffet of possibilities. So I encourage you all to take your inner child's hands, listen to its whims, and let it be our guide to a life full of play, laughter, and endless wonder. And as our ride today comes to a stop, it's time for you to dive into the glorious game of life, take on challenges, and zoom through those pesky problems like a superhero that you are on Turbo Boost. Let play be your sidekick and watch as the obstacles crumble. Eeny, meeny, mighty fun. Embrace play to conquer barriers, find joy in the chaos, and unleash your inner superhero. Let's play and thrive. Ready, set, go. So here, what I decided to put together to you is I have a workbook that comes with all the things I just discussed. So if you can scan this QR code, because I believe that feedback is like a surprise gift. And I think that you never know what you'll get, but it always helps you grow. So your thoughts and suggestions would greatly be appreciated because they're the secret sauce that makes this presentation become even better. So I would really be grateful for your feedback. And the QR code you can scan with your phone, or you can use the link and enter the code THRIVE. And when you fill out the quick little survey, it's a little like happy face thing, ask you 5 quick questions, and then it's a download to get the workbook. It's a PDF. And then I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have from that. You can feel free. I'll give you my contact information. Oh, I got music. And then when you're done filling it out, if you just want to hit done in the chat.
I did the survey, and I have the download.
Perfect. All right, is everyone else okay? Do you want me to move on to the Q&A slide? All right, there we go. All right, well, I think that we've had a lot of fun so far, but now is the time to put on our thinking caps because we want to switch to game mode for a little Q&A. So get ready to buzz in with your questions and let's turn this into a playful quiz show. So who's got the first question for me? Let's play Q&A. Yay.
So when you were developing your ideas of playfulness and staying in a state of playfulness, or using playfulness and stress together, did that come to you just from the universe, or were you also relying on other people's research? Because I have a citation for you, but I wanted to hear where the ideas came from, because a lot of times, these wonderful things come to people, and I'm using Oprah's term, so I apologize, that they come to you from the universe, like Pharrell's song Happy.
Yes.
Just kind of came to him, and so I'm wondering where, if you don't mind sharing,
Oh yeah,
where
great.
it came from.
Great question. Well, I did a TEDx on this topic about a little over maybe a year ago by now. And prior to that, since I've been doing the play thing, and I started like telling my parents jokes at the dinner table when I was a kid, but they couldn't get me to, I was solving problems as a kid through play. So anytime I had an issue when I was a kid, I would like play a game to solve it. And then after I played the game, it was Miss Pac-Man at the time, I'd be like, oh, now I have a solution. But that helped me that was my stress outlet. That helped me with stress. So then I decided to combine all three things. But when I applied for my TED Talk, this was the idea that I had. But then I had to go and research to find research about it. But I'd be happy if you have, I have a whole list of citations, but if you have one to share, I would love it. That would be great. Thank you, Shani.
So there was a researcher, she's since passed away. Her name is Alice Eisen, Isen. And she was a marketing professor in the School of Business at Cornell University. And she did quite a bit of research on positive affect and negative affect and how that influences thought patterns. And what she found was that when people are in a state of positive affect, that they have access to more of their memories than if they're in a state of negative affect, because memories are encoded attached to whatever mood you're in when you encode the memory. And since we usually like to be in a good mood, that means that most of the things we learn are attached to a good mood. So when you're in a good mood, you have access to that. When you're in a negative mood, positive affect, negative affect, then you have access to only a little bit of what you've learned. And that was exactly what you were saying, that when people are in a state of happiness and playfulness and in that, state of positive affect, that they're better at critical and creative thinking, and they come up with more ideas and better ideas and new ideas and so forth. So that fits right in with Alice's research. Yeah. So that was really,
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did she write a book on it too, or just she has a bunch of published research?
A lot of journal articles. And so that would have been in the early and mid 90s. So I'm definitely dating myself to when I was in grad school. But
no, that doesn't matter. I'll still look at it. That's great.
Yeah, so you can find her work, and it's really, really really helpful work. And there's a lot of other people who've done research on affect and positive affect, negative affect, and how that affects things. But she's really one of the pioneers on that topic.
Oh, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Anybody else have any questions before I have a question for you guys? But I want to hear if you have any other questions first.
And again, kind of goes back to my wide variety of different types and styles and levels of stress. How do you define success? When you go through these tools and you go through these examples of fun time, what defines success for you?
Well, for me, it's about just making sure that I incorporate play every day. Because I notice the days that, say, for example, like things got busy and I don't pick something out of my game cup, then I'm not as productive. So for me, I notice a change in my productivity, and that's a sign of me not being as successful. So I would say for you, like, what is something that, I mean, I guess that goes back to what you were saying earlier, Sandy, with the priorities. Like, what do you prioritize? And like, when you think of being successful, to you, what is that number one thing? Like, to me, it's my productivity, but to you, it might be something different.
But it changes every few hours. It's not a predictable thing.
Yeah.
Because your priorities are different and your stress levels correspond to that. So I've got different stuff going on the weekends and different stuff going on during the day and different stuff at night, etc. So it's clearly you need a break and you need some, smile time, and you need, physical and emotional variety. So I get it. I'm just curious on which of these things you pick depending on the day, and then how long you spend on it, and at what point you say, okay, I'm good, let's go back to my other stuff.
No, I hear what you're saying. Because I guess for you, the one thing I would ask you to think about or write down would be like, what's the number one thing? Could you pinpoint a number one thing that lights you up? Like, that makes you excited? Or does that change every day too? Like, there's no one thing.
Attending this meeting was top priority for me.
Okay. So but in general, like, if there wasn't this
That's
meeting,
a joke.
like,
Come on.
oh,
Jeez.
You look serious. I couldn't tell. I didn't want to offend you.
That's my goal, to make you uncomfortable.
Oh, well, you know what, Sandy, you're in luck, because that's my thing for 2024 is being comfortable in the uncomfortable. I don't know if you have like a theme for the year,
Being
but
comfortable, being uncomfortable. Yeah.
That's my thing this year. So thank you for that. Thank you for
I
testing me.
I teach a leadership course, and that's a big part of building a positive, trusting relationship, is to, understand that of your teammates.
I like that. Well, so outside of this presentation that you attended that you were super excited about, what lights you up outside of that? Or you're not going to tell us? Is it a surprise?
That's a mystery.
It's a mystery to me. Oh, Sandy, crack me up. I guess I'm about to sign up for your course to try to get that out of you.
Getting stuff done with quality. Sometimes I wait till it's the day before stuff is due, because it inspires me, as you said before, and it motivates me. And if I did it the week before, it wouldn't be as much fun. So it depends on the mood.
Got it.
I don't do that every time. That would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy, and that would be a little stressful. But I was just having this conversation the other day with somebody that thrives on that. Like, they wait till right up to the deadline, because if they say they had a month lead time to do their project, they wait until like the night before or 2 days before, because if they do it a month out, they say that they don't produce as good work as if they waited till the last moment, which blows my mind. But
that's actually never true. People just feel like they are producing good work because they're under so much stress, and then once they finish it, they get that endorphin boost that they finished this project that was really stressful, and they convince themselves that they've produced good work, but the work is never really all that good.
That is true.
I'm reading a book on time management, and it highlights some of the things you discussed tonight, but it also provides the tools to organize your thoughts, organize your time, organize your focus, set your own priorities, and change them every day if you need to.
No, I like that.
And not everything needs to be done a week ahead of time. It's okay, because sometimes the motivation and the energy and the spirit, sometimes you need to do it a day or two before. Within reason, of course. If it was something that just takes 2 hours, then it's okay to wait till a day or two before. Something that requires a lot more effort and research and speaking to 10 people, obviously you need to start that a little earlier. But
No,
it's a
definitely.
good, time management is a good intersection with this topic.
What is the book called, if you don't mind sharing, Sandy?
It's called Time Boxing. Let me get it.
Oh, I like that name of the book. That's cool. I wonder if there's a picture of like somebody boxing on the front cover.
Yeah.
You know, like they try to be clever with these images nowadays.
Can you see that?
Oh, it's a box.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Time boxing.
Because when
Yeah.
you see the term, the power of doing one thing at a time, so that means all of us that are multitasking, or we think we're multitasking, that's not terribly productive. At least according to this book.
No, that's not you bring up a really good point there, because there's a book in my Audible account. I haven't started reading it yet, but it was saying that exact thing, how multitasking wasn't good and you're supposed to just focus on one task. And then that's why that whole thing I was talking about, Reclaim, does. It puts you in a focus of one task that you're supposed to do in that blocked time.
Yeah.
Versus like, if you didn't have anything in the block time, then you would just be like, what do I work on now? And then you have like 5 things and you're like, what do I pick? And then before you know it, you wasted 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It says if you're trying to do 2 or 3 things at a time, the quality drops, and then by the time you get back to what you were doing, you wasted quite a bit of time. So
Yeah, that's true. Now, what else? So do you have any questions from you, Jesse, or comments, or I wanted to ask you guys about your aha moment. Go ahead, Jesse.
No, I mean, I don't have any particular questions. I mean, I certainly thought this was a very valuable presentation. I mean, the way I kind of managed stress, you know, I talked a little bit about how I was recently getting into mindfulness meditation. But I'm also relying on a good friend of mine. I mean, a few years ago, he had a health crisis, and I kind of pulled him out. And we both, at one point, realized that we both loved cycling. So I said, hey, you know, let's go out for bike rides. And now he's kind of doing the same thing to me. And we have a little walking group, some collection of friends that will get together. And so I think getting out and doing some exercise and just trying to be active, and even just knowing that there's somebody out there kind of checking in on me to say, hey, I haven't heard from you in a few days. You doing okay? Let's go for a walk. Come on. And kind of not giving me the space to say no.
Yes. Well, I think that he's your stress accountability buddy, and you should tell him what your superhero name is. And then
I
see
would
if
never
he
think
has
of
one.
it. He would tease me mercilessly. He's one of those kind of guys.
But it could be fun. All right. Thank you. Yeah. What was your one aha moment? If you had an aha moment, did you have any? What would you share? What would you say?
No, I don't think I had an aha moment. I mean, I think just the totality of everything that was discussed, and the connection between all the different pieces. And because I also tend to look at life in a kind of a buffet style. I pick and choose what kind of works for me. I try not to push my ideas or my like the way that I do things on others, because if it works for me, that's great, but what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. So who am I to tell you, well, that I have a better way to do that? Well, it might be better for me.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying, like, there's no one size, like it's whatever works for you. Like, you may not like my game over cup, but it works for me. You may have a jar, maybe you have a bag, I don't know, whatever you dress up and put in your office, or maybe that's not the thing that works for every day. So yeah, that's a really great point. It's kind of like and you'll know when you get there what works for you. So thank you for sharing that. Any other comments?
bottom line for me is embrace it, and manage it, and be accountable for dealing with it. Because, you know, even when you retire, there's other kinds of stress. So
Oh yeah, I mean, it never goes away.
it's not about, it's not just about work. You know,
Yep.
so it's
I couldn't
okay.
agree with that more. Yeah.
It's okay.
It never goes away, and Shannon can probably attest to that because you don't teach anymore, but there's different types of stress, right? You don't
Right,
have
right.
student stress.
Yeah. Student and parent stress. That was yeah. But yeah. There's always,
Right.
there's other things, but it's a lot more, the work is a lot more fun. My team is a lot more fun. So that helps a lot.
So you're playing, and the other thing at the beginning of the call tonight, your mom is playing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she apparently cracked the code on longevity over there, and she's
Exactly.
doing a
She
puzzle.
has. Uh-huh.
So I'm impressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can probably ask her wisdom.
I'm sure we could learn a lot from her.
Yes. What'd she say? What's the
She
word?
said, "Oh,
The puzzle. She's keeping her mind sharp. She's
and you use
playing.
the puzzles. You use the puzzles to keep your mind sharp and to have a long life." Yeah. Crossword puzzles and jigsaw puzzles. That's what she
Yeah.
does. She's really
Yeah.
active. Yeah.
There you go. Well, there's also research about that too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you. I thank you for your time tonight. And if you have any additional questions or you want reach out to on LinkedIn, we can chat about it. And I hope the workbook's helpful.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Lisa. I really appreciated this presentation. I'm kind of sorry that other people didn't show up. They really would have gotten a lot out of it, but I know that, once we put it up on YouTube, that they'll watch it and they'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I missed that." So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Perfect.
Yeah, this has been great.
All right. Well, everyone take care. Have a good
Thank you.
night. Try to
Thank you,
stress
Lisa.
less. Yeah.
you.
Nice
Okay.
meeting you.
All right.
Okay.
You too.
Bye,
Bye.
Shani. Nice to see you.
Mhm.